It's starting.
Oh, yay.
Oh, cool. It's working now.
Awesome.
Okay.
We're live.
Yay. So this
All right,
is Tara
so-
Smith.
And I'm Debbie Carter.
This is Jessica Carlock.
And I'm Eve Harrison.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm glad we finally figured out how to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. So is there someone who wants to, it says we have to type up our answers to the questions, like come to a consensus on it or kind of a summary of it and type up the questions?
I can do it, and I can create a Google Docs. Have you guys used that?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then maybe we can all open it. And like if we want to add something, we can just do it right here.
Okay.
Let me see.
I don't see where it says we're supposed to do that. Like I see where it says we're supposed to talk about the questions, and then we have to do like a summary at the end of our meeting. But I don't know if I'm just not
Did
seeing.
I read that
maybe-
too.
No, it's the last bulletin point. It says after your meeting, please have one of your group members post your final group answer on the defining family discussion board.
Oh, okay.
So like I guess there's only one document for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So only one of us can post it. It's okay. All right, let me get the emails going. All right, you guys can start talking about it.
Okay.
So first, we're supposed to go through the list, right? And see
Yeah.
how we prioritized it.
Yeah.
Well, my number one was the number one on the thing that a family is a fundamental social group in society, typically consisting of one or two parents and their children. Because that's kind of how the church defines it in the proclamation. So.
Mine was similar. It was just basically that the family has it's always been. Like it started with Adam and Eve, and it's just, we were family before, so it's always been.
Yeah, I actually chose number 2. I went a little more liberal. Well, because I work, I advocate for, I'm a CASA, I'm a court-appointed special advocate for, maybe I told you that already, but so I advocate for kids who are removed from their homes. So I guess I've opened my mind a little more to, like a foster family, I know great foster families who are fostering kids, and I wouldn't want to say to them, you're not a family, because they're unconventional in that way a little bit. So I just decided to go a little broader.
Yeah, I actually went with that one too.
Did you?
Yeah, just because I feel like, well, we're seeing now more than ever that obviously the family's being attacked, and there are a lot of families that separate. And so, although it started as a traditional family, it is, because right now, because I'm thinking my husband, his parents are divorced, and now my parents are getting divorced. And so it started as a traditional family, but because we have agency, right, everyone, like the parents chose different paths. And so I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just.
Well, there's a multi-variety of family.
Yeah.
It's not just that, but there can be a variety of family.
Well, yes. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Is that kind of what you were going for?
Yeah. So it's not just like the typical mom and dad and kids anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be like that, because I completely believe
No,
be
the
like
reality is
Yeah, but sometimes, and more now, more often than not, we're seeing a lot of families not being mom, dad,
Yeah.
children. It's mom and children, or dad and children.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think the first one doesn't address multi-generational so much to me. The second one does.
Mm-hmm.
Two or more people who share goals and values. Because I see a lot of grandparents raising children because their children are, unable to do it safely or well. And so they're a family. They're a family, I think, and they should be acknowledged as a family.
Mm-hmm.
It's damaging and kind of, in my opinion, prejudicial to not.
It's kind of insulting, actually.
Yeah. And culturally, a lot of families, even divorce or not, they include generations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think kids would want to live with me, but some do.
Well, I know which child I'm going
That's
to live
true.
with if I have to.
Yeah, mine will be the ones that are bodybuilders and they're power lifters. That's what they are. So we tease them. Great, you get mom and dad when we're old.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I think the reason I picked the first one is because, like, even though the second one I think also describes, is the definition of a family, I think the first one is like what the ideal family unit should be. So even though like not everyone fits that, or not everyone fits that anymore, even if they used to, that's the ideal that we should all strive for. And so that's why I picked that one, because it's like what we should all try and imagine in our minds as a family, so that we can someday get there if we haven't, like we can someday have a family like that if we don't right now. So that's why I picked that one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I think just because Debbie mentioned how grandparents are raising children now. I mean, their grandchildren as their children. And I just think that like mother or motherhood is like a title that you earn. It's not necessarily because you gave birth to this child that you're the mother. Because there are many mothers that give birth and then they just, they're gone. Whether it's addiction or whatever it is, they're gone. And so just like motherhood, fatherhood is just a title that you earn, whether the grandmother earned it or not. It's just, and that's why too I chose number 2, just because they're titles that you earn, and not necessarily like because I'm a man or because I'm a woman, I'm a mother type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked the commitment part of the second one. But I mean, I went back and forth between the two. So I just decided to be a little controversial.
Okay.
And yeah,
So maybe we say that. So maybe we say that we aim for the ideal, but the reality is there's a variety of families.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so, do you guys? Oh, well, it's right here. Do you guys want to? Did you get the email for the document?
Let's see.
So I'm not sure if those are the right questions, but I pasted it there.
Got it.
Oh, dang
it. Oh, remember, we're being recorded.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can talk about this later.
No, I went to the Google Plus instead of my Google Gmail. I was like, oh. So, yes, I got the thing for the document. So, okay, we're good.
I have to switch around accounts.
Okay, so
sometimes if you're logged in with 2 different accounts, it doesn't know which one to take, so it's just random.
Well, I thought I had logged out of the other, but apparently I had not. It's all my CASA and legal stuff, and I don't want to mix it up. Okay, open in Docs.
All right, shall we continue?
Yes, we can do that.
Well, they won't let me switch. Okay, continue. Oh, there. Sign out.
All right. So
She's at the end, right?
Yes. So I think what was challenging about this activity was just that you have to kind of look at reality and then kind of make it, I don't know, not really make it fit, but kind of line that up with what we know the standard is. And how do you make those work together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that, because you have, the ideal that we talked about, which is the mom, dad, and the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have what we actually have now, which are same-sex gender parents, or like, just a single dad, just a single mom. And so it's hard to like kind of combine without compromising too much of either one.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't want to like.
Well, you don't want to alienate people.
Right, yeah. Of course not.
So, and obviously, we're going to be compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, yeah, like I said, that was the hard part, is just kind of reconciling those two things, the reality of it and the standard of it in what we live today.
Mm-hmm.
So,
We're supposed to talk about like in present I the questions that are in the Google Doc, as we're supposed to talk about those after hold about the video and the talk. So
Did you all watch the video?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Debbie.
Okay. All right. And then let's see, what is our next? Is that kind of a consensus from everyone that was the more difficult thing?
was there anything that stood out to you?
Did we lose people? Oh, there you are.
I think Debbie's gone.
Okay.
Can you not hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you.
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Well, that's not such a bad thing. What are you doing? I did dress for you this morning. I can't figure out why my picture went away.
That's okay. At least we can hear you, so that's good.
So do we agree on that? Or does someone else have a different opinion or more insight to add?
Well,
oh, there you are.
what's challenging about talking about topics like this is that everyone has had a different background. And so like everyone's definition is all had different experiences with their own families or with other people's families.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are both adopted. So that's a different way to, be a mother.
Build a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're just titles that you earn.
They are.
It's not something that you're born with, but it's something that you get through your commitment.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely.
It's a reward, whether you gave birth to them or not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So should I type that?
Yes, you can type that. Yeah.
I forgot what you said.
And I'm sure, Debbie, you see all kinds of situations and configurations of families and people. And
I do. I see a lot of moms that have several children with multiple dads, and it gets really complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's really complicated tracking all of that and kind of getting adults to take ownership of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, yeah, it's been really interesting work. It's been very, I've definitely stepped outside my little safe Mormon bubble. But
Yeah.
it's been a good thing because I have never felt so close to the Savior. I've been blown away by some of the experiences I've had where I know He's guiding me, and yet I have to be fact-based when I make reports and, you know, talk to the judge and social workers. But He is in this work. So it's challenging, but it's great.
Yeah. You can have an effect.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so question number 2. I think there are about 4.
Yeah.
But see, look at the instructions. It says that we're supposed to answer all these questions after we've already done the whole, discussion. I think. So we're supposed to talk about what we didn't like about Sister Beck's talk and Elder Iring's video, and then we answer the questions after we've talked about it.
I love Sister Beck. I kind of miss her.
I miss her so much.
She's like just real. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She can just share and testify of the same doctrine, but she's just so real. I don't know. I really like her.
I just love, especially in this talk, in all of her talks, but I love in this talk, you can feel how much she believes in what she's saying, actually, but you can tell, that she really has a testimony of the things that she's saying,
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how simply she taught.
Yeah, it was very...
She didn't go the extra mile and talked about profound doctrine or anything like that. It was just simple, basic. A child can understand what she was talking about.
Yes, I agree. I like that as well.
Sometimes we I don't know whether we want to impress ourselves or others, and we start talking about weird things, and then we lose track of the purpose.
Yeah, just overcomplicate it.
Yeah, but she was just clear, straight to the point. You cannot misunderstand her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I made some notes on her talk, and she talks about how youth are losing confidence in the institution of families. They don't trust they don't trust themselves, and they don't trust the moral strength of their peers.
Yeah.
That, I think what that statement means is when people are saying, I'm afraid to bring kids into this world because of what the people around are doing.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was my thinking too. I'm from New Jersey, and there are no LDS. There are, but very, very few.
Yeah.
And so seeing everything and seeing the world, it was very hard for me to say, okay, I'm bringing this innocent person into this world. But then as I started to grow and understand more the plan of salvation and families, then I was how can I not bring someone into this world?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a new feeling. I felt that way as a mother when my firstborn was born in, and you can do the math, 1976. I was very young myself, of course, but I had those same fears. I think every generation has those fears. There's been terrible times of war and rationing and deprivation and depravity, and it's definitely a leap of faith to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was the one thing that's for some reason stood out to me just as President Eyring was reading the proclamation again was just that, as it lists, the things that we, it listed faith. And I thought, like, for myself, I didn't know really if I would ever be able to have children. And so I just had to have faith that, if it was meant to be, that we would have children. And if it wasn't meant to be, that we would still, be productive, happy, a productive, happy couple, living life. But that was a huge kind of a leap that you have to take when it's out of your hands, and you can drive yourself crazy if you don't have that faith, and you're always trying to like manage and control things. So it's I think similar when you, like you said, when you're thinking, do I want to bring a child into the world, you have to have that faith that it'll be fine. It'll be what it's going to be. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you definitely do. This actually, there's a quote in her. My husband and I got married, and like before we got married, we were like, yeah, we'll like wait like a year or so to have kids, because I'm only 19 and we're still in school, and we just like I just kept feeling like we needed to have kids, and he didn't want to yet. He was afraid of it and afraid of the responsibility and stuff. And we were at church one time, and like it was so hard for me because I wanted to start trying to have a baby, and he didn't want to yet. And I like knew it was the right thing to do, but he didn't, so I had to wait for him to get there. There's actually a quote from this talk that our bishop shared in church that convinced him to want to have a baby. And so it's this quote that says, "The rising generation needs to understand that the command to multiply and replenish the earth remains in force. Bearing children is a faith-based work. President Spencer W. Kimball said, it is an extreme act of selfishness for a married couple to refuse to have children when they are able to do so. Motherhood and fatherhood are eternal roles." So our bishop read that in church, in Sunday school one time. He was talking to us about how we need to have kids, and on the way home from church, my husband was like, "I'm being so selfish, and we need to have a kid," and so we did, and I just had my daughter a month ago. But
congratulations!
Talk is because it's why it's this talk is like what convinced my husband to have a baby. So
awesome.
Well, if I can interject something here, okay. So we're scared to become mothers. That's a good thing, because it shows how seriously you take the role. And I meet a lot of young moms who did not give that any thought. It just happened because of their irresponsible behavior. And so I think it's a good thing that you think seriously about, that it's occupies your mind, and you stress about it, because that means you take it seriously.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. Yeah, I had to laugh because I was 19 when I got married, and you have plans and things, and so my thought was, oh, I'm just going to have all of my, I wanted to have 3 or 4 kids, and I thought, I'm going to have all my kids by the time I'm 30, and then, I'll just raise them and get on with life. Well, so much for plans. That's funny. My daughter, I was 35 when we got her. So it's, again, you have to, we thought about it, obviously, we had to try, but that made it, I think, I'm sure that you probably see this, Debbie, that I would get so aggravated because I would think, my gosh, here are these women who aren't even trying and don't even care. And, here I am doing everything in the, under the sun to try and have a baby and can't. And so that would get aggravating. And so I think that gave me kind of a different perspective about it.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. The mistake too with some of these young women is they do it intentionally because they want someone to love them. They haven't loved, and they don't understand the baby that needs so much.
It's definitely, you become, if you're selfish, it's not going to work, because that it's like the least selfish job out there is, mother. You're like giving all of yourself to someone else, pretty much.
But by the same token, it's easy to complain about the difficult parts of parenthood, but it's really hard to explain the deep joy.
Yeah.
Well, we do a disservice, those of us who've become parents, when we complain about it, because then there's only the negative out there, because it's really just hard to explain those feelings, those intense feelings.
It is. Yep.
Okay.
All right. What did everyone think about Elder Iron's talk or his video?
I liked it. Like I said, that when, for some reason today, that section where when he was reading the proclamation just stood out, and then it was about faith, and I just thought, it really does just come down to faith, because you think about, how many people live together and won't get married because I don't make enough money, or I don't, we can't afford it, or, they won't have kids because for the reason they don't want to bring them into the world, or they don't think they can afford them. But you just have to have faith that it's gonna, it'll work itself out.
Mm-hmm.
I like.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry.
No, I talked too much. Go ahead, Eve.
Okay. I liked the part where he was talking about how, like, there's not that many people in the world who have family dinner or who pray together or whatever, but how he said that if those children that are growing up in those homes do it with their children and their children and their children, it will just grow exponentially. And and that's how we need to, like, increase, how, like, it's our responsibility to do those things with our families so that they will do them with their families, and so that just kind of just like deepened my resolve to have family home evening and things like that with my daughter and my other, my future children when they're old enough, and to pray and have family dinner and things like that.
Yeah. That's kind of our we always eat together. My husband works long hours, so we don't necessarily always have family home evening, but on Sunday afternoons we have like family movie. So that's kind of our together time for the week. But yeah, it's
have to be flexible.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that, you're right. If you're doing those things, then you're the example for your kids, and they take that with them and either, use it or adapt it to their own lives.
Mm-hmm. I liked how Irene said that the differences between men and women, husband and wife, they really unite us rather than divide us and bring us closer to God. And I thought that's really true. We've been married 44 years now, and some, it's had its moments of difficulty, but any path you choose really does. So I'm really grateful to have him, and our differences do complement each other.
Mm-hmm.
We just try not to, both be sad at the same time or both be mad at the same time. Doesn't always work, but
yes.
I really liked kind of like what Tara said, but every time I hear the family proclamation to the world, I just like, I don't know, it like gives a shock throughout my body, and it reminds me of like the importance of families and like eternity and how that would be with our families. And so whenever like anyone reads a part of or anything, I'm just reminded of the basics, you know. It's pretty simple. It's pretty black and white. You know, there's the man and the woman, and then the purpose for that unity is for you to guide and bring children into this world so you can help them become eventually, hopefully, better than you and better than you will ever be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I don't have any children yet, and hopefully soon, but you know, just the process of like preparing myself for that and feeling like, because I've always heard like, oh, you'll never feel ready for motherhood. Oh, you'll never do this. And like, it takes faith to feel ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes faith. It takes that leap for you to be like, all right, I can do this. Let's do this. We'll do this together type of thing. And so it's just hearing that. And like just this entire week, I've been reading everything, and it's just been really, really comforting to know that everything will be okay. You know, I have a spouse, and he's not just, you know, a body here, but he can actually be my teammate and help me, and we can help each other and help our children together.
Yep.
Which is one of the things that I've learned since I've been married. Like, you don't have to do everything on your own.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
And kudos to the single ladies or single dads that do.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because, man, there's days that I think, oh, man, if I didn't have my husband, I would go cuckoo. You know, they're there to kind of spell you.
I don't know how anyone does it without just by
Oh,
themselves.
yeah, definitely.
It's
And
really hard.
some people don't have that option.
Yep. They just do it because they have to. Yes, you're right.
I had a friend in high school that got pregnant, and she was a girl. She was 17, 16. And how could she possibly assume the role of a mother at a 16, you know?
Yeah.
But like throughout the years, I've seen her grow, and I've seen her change her life for her child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing to see that, and it's so impressive. And I don't know if hopefully like I won't do that ever in my lifetime, but it's just, it takes a lot. And
Yes.
there was a conference that General Authority talked about how awesome single parents are, and that we should give them more, you know, props for that, because it is hard just to do it on your own.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We should probably watch the time, or our instructor will have a long video to watch.
Yes.
I need to go my husband up from class, so we should run through these questions real quick.
All right.
I wasn't able to pull it up, so. Oh, are you talking about the Google Doc?
Yeah.
Yeah, I trust you guys on that. I can check it after I hang up, but trying to get to mine, I kept hanging up.
Okay.
Oh, so I opted to stay with you girls rather than try to find the Google Doc.
All right.
All right, so the second question is, how well do you think the average young adult understands the doctrine of the family?
I don't think well. I don't. I mean, if you're talking church young adult, maybe surface, but world young adult, I don't know.
Well,
They've probably been really thought about it too much. I don't know.
I think most of them have never experienced an actual family. Like, so many people, even like, don't even have an unconventional family, you know, because, you know, so many people are raised without any parents or just in the foster system. And so, I think I think there's so many people that just don't understand doctrine of the family because they've never had an experience with it.
Yeah, well, I just put they may understand the first layer of it and not like completely understand
Surface.
it. Yeah. So I mean, just because there are more LDS are fewer in the world, so I don't think everyone has the opportunity to see an example of what a traditional family should look like, or what a family, or a family of God should look like. And so they just go.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
It's okay. It's just, if my mother, I mean, I had another friend that she was so proud because she didn't get pregnant at the age of 15, because her great grandmother had a child by 17, and then her grandmother, and then her mother, and then just graduating high school without a child was a big accomplishment for her, which it is. And so I don't think everyone gets to see that example of
Definitely.
They want it. They want something like what they see, with two dedicated parents, but they don't always know how to get there because of the way their family is modeled for them.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I advocate right now. I seem to attract cases with teenage girls, and I love it because my husband and I raised 4 daughters, no sons. But we have sons now. We got to pick them. But, this one set of girls, their father took his life 3 years ago, so they have no biological dad. Their mother has serious addiction problems, and that's why they came into care of the state, of the county. And then their relative they were living with, it was going fine, and she's their grandmother. And then grandmother reached her limit. Like, she had a very tiny place, 4 girls sharing 1 bedroom, and she just kind of meltdown and said, they're out of here. And so now I'm looking for homes for these girls. Well, they have homes now, but at that point I was, where are we going to put these girls? And I think, how are they going to know what normal looks like? It's chaos and contention in every home they've lived in.
Yeah.
So how are they going to know? I worry a lot about them because they're just beautiful girls.
It's like what do I want to say? Kind of like some fantasy that you would think about. But unless you see it, it's just a fantasy, something that you hear about.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop talking because I'm the one said we need to wrap it up. But
Okay.
I know we need to hurry because my husband has to go to work and I need to go pick him up right now.
Okay.
All right.
So,
Should I read the next one? So it says, what do you think it is important that we study the doctrine of the family at the beginning of the semester as opposed to the end? And I just thought because it lays the foundation for everything.
Yeah, it's the basis of our belief and our religion, basically.
Yeah. All right, next.
Yes.
Unless anyone has something more to add. All right. What doctrine or what principle, if understood, would motivate a Latter-day Saint to advocate for the family? I just thought eternity. I mean, if we really understood what eternity is, like being eternal families, then I think we would do anything possible.
Just how important family is.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that's the last one. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
So it says that at the end we need to have a 2-minute, just like what we talked about, so that she doesn't have to watch the entire meeting. So I guess first we talked about what our definition of a family is, and we were kind of conflicted on whether we have a little bit different opinions about what our definition of the family was between a fundamental unit or a fundamental social group and 2 more people who share goals and values. So, but I feel like I don't know. I think that we kind of came to a consensus that it was the second one, but that the ideal was the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had an ideal of what it should be and then a realistic not meaning that
Yeah.
it's, you know, just the world today. It's not
Mhm.
a traditional family.
Mhm.
Okay. Then we talked about Sister Beck's talk and the points that we liked from it. We talked about how we just liked that she was very straightforward and that she taught very simply about what the family is, but and that we could feel her testimony and her talk about how important it is to have children and to even like be a parent if you don't have children, if you can't have children, to find someone to be a parent to or to be an example to. Then we talked about Elder Irene's address at the Vatican and how just hearing the family, the proclamation to the world brings the spirit, and how it just like really brings clarity to our understanding of the family. So I think that's all right.
Sounds good.
Yep. I think so.
All right. Well, I gotta
Okay.
get going.
All right. See you.
Okay. Bye.
All right.
Week, ladies.
Bye.
And who's posting this?
I think I will.
Jessica.
I'm
Okay.
going to stop recording right now, okay?
Okay.